welcome to Pathways. I'm Jenny Hartshorn, your host. Do you remember playing an instrument in the band in school? I do. I played the clarinet. And I remember I was worried about squeaking it or not sucking the reed the right way or playing the wrong note. It's just really kind of nerve-wracking. And I was just nervous about not doing it right. And this man that I met today, he just teaches things completely differently. He teaches music like a language. And he wants it to get into your system, and he's just had so much success with these kids and helping them through adolescence, and I just can't wait for you to meet him. And he's also going to play the violin, which I'm really psyched about. So why don't we go meet him? Let's go. I was so excited to be meeting Jose Sanchez Gregorio, this wonderful, talented musician whose teachings had impacted so many kids. He greeted me at the door with such a warm reception. I knew we were off to a good start. We walked into his home studio where he had laid out a plethora of fresh fruits and berries. As we discussed lighting and seating with my crew, Jose agreed to let me take a closer look at his violin and maybe play a little piano with me. We played some chopsticks duet, and I guess I got a little carried away. But then Jose treated us to the real deal. What a beautiful sound he made with that violin.
My name is Jose Gregorio Sanchez Rodriguez. I am a violin instructor, violinist. I'm originally from Barquisimeto, Venezuela. I was raised by my grandparents since I was about 8 months old. I was a sick child. Many times I was at the hospital. For one thing, I remember I used to be able to sing. I used to sing, but at this hospital, the nurses used to give me money if I sing a song. So I found a way to do my gig, do my own thing, and so I got motivated by singing. When I was 6, my grandfather handed me a cuatro. Cuatro, it's a Venezuelan folk instrument. In fifth grade, my grandfather passed. And that was a big event because it affected me a lot, and it was, like part of me, went. And I know it affected me a lot because I repeated that year, and he was the one that gave me the cuatro.
Do you want us to stop?
No, it's okay. One of the person that discovered me, his name is Adelmo Ceballos, to whom I'm ever grateful. This guy was an angel, and that was the beginning of a big change in my life. A few months later, I met Maestro Jose Antonio Abreu, who's the founder of the System of Orchestras in Venezuela. It was a privilege to meet him, and it was another big shift in my life. Maestro Abreu asked me, what instrument do you want to play? I'm like, well, violin. That's it. So by age 18, I was preparing to audition for the Simón Bolívar Orchestra in Caracas. And so I did, and that's how I got into the orchestra. I auditioned, and I started living, again, a life of any professional, like any other profession. I found out about Margaret Pardee. With the help of a friend, I wrote her a letter. I told her, I would like to come and study with you. I would love to go to Juilliard. So I say so she would take me seriously. And so I got a letter back from her. She accepted me. I came to the summer camp when I first met Margaret Pardee. Her words were, your audition to Juilliard is in August. And I went and did the audition, and I made it. In '93, I was kind of introduced to the Suzuki method. I knew about the Suzuki method, and then I studied the Suzuki method. I went to school for strings, and that was my first initiation on the method. The Suzuki method incorporates the parents. There are certain elements that need to be there that are similar to the way we learn to speak. I mean, when we learn to speak, everybody speaks in the family. So there is an environment where that the child is exposed to, and he's supported. And when the child speaks for the first time, everybody's happy about it. So this motivates him to learn more words. and everything is done by ear. And this approach is taken to how one can learn an instrument. So we have El Sistema, in which basically the idea is to have the kids sing or play together, basically, and learn discipline. This is how they develop themselves as human beings. And I had the opportunity to be part of that program. So I started thinking of the idea of combining both methods, because they very well serve each other. And that's how I began to develop a method of teaching.
Hi, my name is John Paul Velez. I'm a teacher here in Princeton in public schools. I'm also a teacher at the Princeton Conservatory, and right now my daughter Luciana is taking violin lessons with Mr. Jose Sanchez.
My name is Luciana and I take lessons with Mr. Jose.
The method that Jose uses in teaching the lessons is he's always inviting the parents to come in and watch. And I think it's important that the parents are involved as well. It speaks to how the child is learning the music like a language. And so we also are taking part in this. And so the parents are watching the lessons, learning about the music and how to practice. I think it's really important that that happens. And the method is great. She really responds to it. And it's really a listening first and then to reading the music, like how we learn a language, by ear, and how to sing the music before she really plays it and understands where to put her fingers.
And then you sing. And then you sing the A. Okay, that's great. And I experienced this method as I was a child, because I learned everything by ear. I had one incident where I was trying to teach a little 4-year-old, and my teacher transferred to me, and I could not communicate with this child, so I needed to find out how they do it.
On our way to Jose's house, and I guess she didn't want to play, and so as soon as we got there, her friend was there, and even with her friend being there, she still didn't want to play. And so I said, you stay here, I'm going to go outside with Alec and go bring the car, and if you don't want to play, we go home. And she got upset when I said, we'll go home, because she does love Jose. And so she said, no, 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 and she ran back in the house, and I just stayed outside with my son, and she started playing, and by the end of the night, she walked away with smiles and hugging him. And
Great lesson today. You're going to leave this room like extremely happy, even happier than before, okay? Okay. Great.
Like I always think of a 6-year-old is I have to be here instead of playing outside. It's hard for her, but once she starts playing and listening to the music and really just participating in that, she's transformed.
And I love taking lessons with him.
2 days ago in a row, I have had students that come into my class very upset, and so I know that they're upset, and I know that they have something going on. So I just keep going, and the class is going, and then in the end, I do tell them. In the end, I notice that their mood is changed completely. And whatever we did in the class, it just changed them. Can you imagine if we did this every day? Imagine if everybody did this. Wouldn't that be great?
When I take lessons with Mr. Jose, it makes me feel happy.
My name is Jeray, and I've been playing violin for like 3 or 4 years, but this is my first year with Jose, and I like music because it adds a bit of, it adds something to my life, like, so it isn't all boring video games. I think Mr. Gregorio is a good teacher because, like, he can make things that I don't like I used to hate practicing vibrato, but so suddenly he shows up with a piece which I love, and it's all vibrato, so that's how, like, he can get me to do something I don't like. Mr. Gregorio is different than other teachers I've had because, like, he will never give up on you.
Very good approach to that the parents coming into the classroom and then and try to help. Every now and then he will interact with you saying that, okay, this is the very important one, please help take a picture or take some videos, and then he can, when the student go back, he can review it, or he will say, oh, this is a very important part that please put a note. right? So at home, when he start to practice, right? So we know that when we hear something different, we can give him some suggestion, even though we are not certified teachers.
Yeah, the way I teach, I can, which is a little, it's how do you say? It's controversial because there are some people that don't agree with my system.
Having Daddy in the class because I love him too, and I want to see him every time and hug with him.
As a child, I used to startle. Well, I don't startle anymore. But music gave me self-confidence. Like I mentioned, and, as a child, it's funny that I used to startle, but I used to sing fluently. Yeah, I could mention, for instance, a child, very quiet, he would never speak, he was always like by himself. Apparently, I never knew this for a fact, but I think they were giving him some medication or something, and I heard the mother commenting once, music is better than medication. So to every kid, that play a role in different ways. To me, that's what it did, and being in the kind of childhood that I had, and the kind of environment where I was, and seeing everything that music has done to me, it's worked. So I know it works.
Music makes me feel very happy.
When I play the violin, I feel like I'm enjoying it. Like right now in middle school, I get a load of homework, so like when I'm practicing, it makes me kind of feel more light.
I love my violin.
I would love for every kid to have access to music because of what it can do to you. My plans for the near future is to have a school where I can attend all students, where they can, if they cannot pay for the class, they can receive the class. Where I can give them an instrument, where I can give them all the same possibilities that I had, that allowed me to get to where I am right now.